Are you afraid of the dark? Have you ever felt, heard, or seen things that aren't there? Paranormal activity, stalking spirits, past lives, portals into the unknown, and more. Take a journey into the shadows with your hosts Regina and Teresa as they discuss all things paranormal. Regina Stewart is a psychic medium who has been interested in the paranormal ever since the age of 7, when she realized she could communicate with people who were no longer amongst the living. Teresa McLean is a spiritually gifted psychic who at the age of 3 had a near-death out-of-body experience, which resulted in her being stalked her entire life by a hitchhiking entity. Teresa knows how it truly feels to be haunted. This isn't a show for the easily offended or faint-hearted. Now, follow me as Teresa and Regina take us into the shadows.
Hi, and welcome to Into the Shadows with Regina and Teresa. I'm Regina, your host today, and Teresa will be joining us here in a minute. I wanted to go over a couple things real quick, and then I'm going to get Alyssa Onyx on, she is our guest today. She's the founder of Dark Doll Paranormal. First of all, I wanted to kind of mention that our show now is being broadcast live on Blog Talk, but we have a YouTube channel that we have a few episodes on there already, and we're going to be putting every single one of these episodes on YouTube, starting with this one today for Alyssa. So you can go and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Into the Shadows with Regina and Teresa, and you can see all of those there. And pretty soon we'll have another outlet, and it's called Paranormal Depot. We'll be able to have podcasts from there and also upload our shows and different things like that. So that's going to be fun. And then, of course, we have our Facebook page that's Into the Shadows with Regina and Teresa, and our team page, which is Hide and Seek Paranormal. And then we also have hideandseekparanormal.com. So we upload everything to all of those, so you can see us there. I'm just going to jump right in and bring Teresa on, and then bring Alyssa Onyx on to talk with us. Teresa, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
I've known Alyssa for a while. We did a little documentary together, the Moshai Mansion in Seguin. That's how I met her. And ever since then, I've just kind of followed her journey on Facebook as far as the paranormal goes and stuff. So I'm interested in finding out what's going on with Dark Doll Paranormal and everything else she has coming up. So I want to go ahead and bring her on so we can find out everything. Hi, Alyssa. This is Regina.
Hi, girls. How are y'all?
We're doing good. I'm excited to have you on. And
it's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, well, sure. And like I was saying in the intro, I met you probably, maybe 2 or 3 years ago at the Moshai. And then I just kind of kept in contact with you and kept up with you on Facebook. But I'm so excited to hear what's going on in the paranormal world with you. I just kind of wanted to jump right in since we're kind of, short on time, and just start out with, how did you get started in the paranormal field?
Right, yeah. Well, I actually have grown up in a very active, kind of lifestyle since I was a kid. Everyone in my family has a connection to the paranormal, whether they've, seen, heard, felt, go down the whole line. Everyone in my family's had something, and we have deep Native American roots on my mother's side, and a plethora of different tribes on my dad's side, and so I definitely accredit it to that. But I was 2 years old when I saw my first apparition, and I was so young that the only way I could describe her was I called her Lady, and she was an elderly woman, no relation to my family, and I would see her across the street in the house from the childhood house I grew up in. And excuse me, even as a kid, I had an idea of what she was, and I was never really afraid. And since then, it's always been a part of me. I don't know a different life other than this, and it's something that I've definitely embraced. It's something I've never been afraid of. It's something that I have really seen as a gift, and something I'm really proud of. But I didn't start professionally in the field until 2008. So I was about 19, 20 years old, and started going to investigations and, digging up history on places, and then catching wind of the conventions and catching wind of all the things going on, and meeting some of the individuals that had some ghost hunting television shows. And at that time, I wasn't really intrigued by that. But as I've gotten older and as I've dove deeper into this industry and in this world, I have a different type of look and attitude and style and whole method of how I deal with ghosts and the other side. And so, for the past couple of years, I've been trying to kind of see where my path was going to lead, and I started Dark Doll Paranormal in 2013. So I had my 3-year anniversary in February. The name is kind of just a big combination of my work in makeup artistry, fashion styling, and I'm a huge drag queen aficionado, which anyone that knows me knows that. The LGBT community is huge for me. The drag queen community is huge for me. So I pull a bunch of different things into my creepy, spooky world. And, of course, I'm a huge fan of Elvira and Morticia and those characters, and I would like to definitely have a similar position as far as making a character and a brand for myself in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's the plan.
Well, I've kind of been watching you on Facebook and stuff and noticed that you have some things coming up that might be affiliated with either a television show or kind of venturing that direction. Is that something that's coming up in the near future?
Absolutely, yeah. There are a couple in the last maybe 2. It's been about 1.5 years now, I would say. There's been some interest out of Los Angeles, some different production companies that I've tested and tried, and of course, I'm, I know that many in the field, as huge as it has gotten in the last, 10 years. I mean, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. I mean, it's a pretty saturated field, and I know a lot of people seek out television shows and want some face time, and I'm all for that if you put it out there in the right light. But I kind of want to go about it a different way, and so I've tested and tried a few production companies, and I'm not down with the scripted stuff. I'm not down with the hokey stuff. I'm really not even down with the group stuff. So I've kind of narrowed it down to a few individuals that are trying to mold and come up with this really neat some neat ideas. I've made the mistake in the last year or two pulling people on board and in my bubble, and there's been some sabotage and some shadiness, and so I've kind of let some people go and decided to just stick with just me. I do have a friend, Joey Slane, who pops in on my Facebook quite often. He's a fabulous, beautiful, vampiric individual here in Austin, Texas, and we're cooking up some things. But my ultimate goal is to definitely travel the world and experience not only the paranormal, but the way different cultures and different people of different backgrounds deal with the dying process, and then the death process, and then the paranormal. I think that, I'd like to do something that hasn't been done in a way that hasn't been shown, and bring a different style and attitude that has not been brought to the masses yet. So that's what's going on right now. YouTube, I'm really active on social media, and you mentioned seeing me on Facebook. The biggest piece of critique I get is the fact that I don't have a lot of footage out there on me. I get a lot of slander for the type of photos that I take and the way I dress and the way I look, and that's merely a character. I mean, I've been a spooky, kooky, creepy girl since I was young, and I just, a lot of times, for me being a sensitive, I don't always rely on the technology. For me, it's to go and experience and just capture what I can, and I either release that or I don't. It just kind of depends on if I want it to be seen or not. And so I get a lot of slack for that, but I do have a YouTube channel I'm polishing up, and my website and all that. So I'll be jumping heavily more onto the social media wagon, so to speak, just because I have to. But it's time to put it out there. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and I think that doing shows like this, they'll get exposure in multiple places and different things like that. Well, it gets your name out, and then people start going and checking all your Facebook, friending you, and then from there, it just kind of snowballs. Even whenever I first started in the field, I did a lot of radio. Not that I was trying to get exposure, but it gave me the exposure, and I have so many people that follow me. So yeah, I mean, you're doing it the right way, and I agree with pretty much everything you're saying because I've been down the road, and I know exactly what you're going through. I had a show lined up, and they wanted me to be scripted, and I said no,
yes, ma'am.
and I gave it up because that's not what I'm about. I want to bring Teresa on, my partner, and
yeah, hi, Alyssa. How are you doing? This is Teresa on the other half. I'm located out of Florida, and I wanted to first make a comment, and then I'll go ahead and ask the question. The comment that I wanted to make was I commend you highly for taking it a different direction than what everybody's doing right now.
That means a lot. Thank you.
And when you were talking, I was getting a visual of what you were describing, and I think that's going to be a great way to attack it. I did want to ask a question to you in regards to your experience. You talked about the lady. My curiosity on it and my question would be, is the lady that you're talking about, did she follow you, or was it just in that one location?
Well, you know, it goes back and forth. I have not physically seen her since I was a kid, and this went on from, my gosh, and people always ask, well, how do you remember something back so far? Luckily for me, I have an older sister who's 10 years older than me, and she's very connected she's a youth minister, actually, and so she's connected spiritually and religiously, and so there's cassette tapes that I have in my possession of us going back and forth. She's talking to me. I'm a baby, can barely talk. And she's just, what's your favorite color? The typical thing. And I'm talking about Lady. And at one point she leaves the room and I'm talking to Lady. Like I'm having a conversation with her. I would horribly draw a picture. I cannot draw. But as a kid in my school journals, I would draw her and write Lady. And so my teachers were like, what is going on? And I'm from a very tiny town near Abilene. Like there were about 30 kids in my graduating class. And so the journey I'm embarking on, people just don't do that where I come from. People don't really, quote unquote, make it where I come from and don't really find their path and follow it. So as a kid having these experiences, I kind of had to keep quiet. But as far as Lady's concerned, she's still with me. I've talked to psychic mediums. I've had readings done that say your 3 spirit guides, your 3 guardians around you. It's your stepdad, your grandmother, and then there's another older woman that has no relation to your family, and it's her. I have no doubt it's her. I know that she's with me when I go on these journeys. I know that she's a protector of mine. For whatever reason she chose me, I will never know, but I'm not complaining. She started my journey, so I'm thankful to have her, whoever she is. And we've tried to look back in the history of the home in my hometown. It was used by a church. The church, one of the Baptist church, owned it. So families came and went constantly. And I saw 3 families during the period of time we lived across the street. I saw 3 families come and go. So I don't know who she belonged to, but she chose me, so that's okay.
A lot of psychics and mediums and sensitives tend to have spirit guides. So my other question is, when you're talking about doing your solo investigations, what is your favorite things to utilize?
Myself. And that's a catch-22 because you can't prove, I just had a crazy experience. One of my very best friend in the world, John, came down to visit for my birthday and for his summer break this last week, and we went to one of my favorite places in the world to investigate here outside of Austin, and that's a whole other story, and it would take up so much time, but crazy, in a matter of 10 minutes, just truly unbelievable experiences that no one would even remotely believe. So in moments like that, when I don't have a camera rolling or I don't have any of my equipment set up, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am technologically challenged. I grew up in the age of the internet. I grew up in the age of all these things and was whizzed in middle school and into high school with computers and technology. And now I'm just, for me, and that's why having a film crew with me is, I love that, because they will capture things I can't with better equipment, because I'm my best tool. I'm all I've ever had. When I first started out at 18, I had a flashlight. And maybe a voice recorder, and I would go with my group of people then at that time. I love the equipment. I think it's great. I think the technology is advancing the paranormal, and that's fabulous. But for me, Dark Doll is not science-based. I'm not out there trying to prove anything. I'm not out there trying to steer people one way or another and say, yes, this exists, get on board. No, not at all. I just want to share what I see, feel, and hear, whatever that may be, with the masses. And so it's a catch-22. I just like using myself as my best tool. But, I mean, the Ghost Box is a wonderful piece of equipment. The Portal is a wonderful piece of equipment. But having a traditional voice recorder and a night vision camera, that's really all I need and all I desire and like.
Yeah, and you catch great evidence off of the simple equipment.
Yeah.
They've kind of went way far in some of the things that they're promoting out there.
It's overwhelming.
You know?
I mean, I've been up close and personal with some things, and I've gone with an individual or two that's pulled out all these things, and I'm just like, hey, you sit over in the corner and do your thing. I'm going to go be by myself and use me, because people need to realize if you truly want to have an experience, you have to have an open mind, first of all. You have to not be so quick to deb anything, and you really have to have the time. I mean, I'm a night owl. I've always been that way since I was a kid. I typically won't roll into bed until dawn. I mean, that's just how I'm wired. So when I go to places, I'm in it to win it. I will stay up for days on end, literally. And there are people that say you can't do that and it's not possible. It is. I mean, if you really want to go and if you're on a mission to capture evidence or have that experience, you have to have the time to devote to it, and you have to have the willingness and the open heart and the open mind, period. So yeah, that's my whole thing.
I totally agree. And I'll go ahead and say thank you and hand you back over to Regina.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Oh, you're welcome.
I kind of wanted to ask about, as far as like investigating, do you ever offer it to the public to go with you on these investigations? I know you said you like to kind of do it independently, but is there ever a time that you do go with other groups, or you ask people to go along with you?
Honestly, and this is going to make me sound just like a B word, so to speak, but I really don't, just because I've had some bad experiences in the past, and well-known individuals in the paranormal have gone with me and have kind of sabotaged footage and things of that nature. Long story short, I don't. I know in the future, depending on where my career goes, you know, if I do attend conventions as a speaker, or if I do attend conventions as a guest, or if I do guest host paranormal ghost hunt, or ghost hunts at random places, I know there are going to be people that come along, and that's great. I mean, if I'm out there on a platform where I can share my experiences and my gift and my whole self with whomever wants to accept it and see me and hear me, I would never turn that down. As of right now, and as of recently, I'm kind of just me and maybe my mom or one of my friends, or I'm just very selective. I've been burned with people, and yeah. And then as far as just traditional ghost tours, I have hosted a few when I first moved to Austin. There's the Austin Ghost Tours, and I was a part of that. But I found, being such a sensitive, and I know you are going to completely understand this, being such a sensitive to the paranormal and going to these places, it can become so overwhelming with the paranormal activity around you, it is very hard to tap into that when there's a lot of living around you. And there are some people that weren't really prepared to get scared and weren't really prepared to have something happen. I mean, I've been with people that have gotten sick and that have cried and that have really gotten very bothered. And that throws me off. I have anxiety. I wear it as a badge of honor. I've had it since I was a kid. I suffer very much from that. And so that can really stir up my anxiety. So at this time, I kind of just steer clear of groups and just do my own thing. It's just easiest for me.
And I completely understand. And the reason why I brought it up was because I know, 100% know, that the moment you become part of something even larger, whether it's a TV show. I honestly see you going really strongly into YouTube too, and I think you're going to get a lot of followers that way.
Thank you.
With those followers, and it's kind of funny to say it this way, you're going to have groupies. You're going to have those people that really want to gravitate towards you and kind of attach themselves to you, know what I mean, and then follow you. So, and I'm sure you already have. I'm sure you already have that in some forms, but I think it's going to become even bigger. So that's why I was asking those questions, because I think it's going to come to a point where you're just going to have to say, okay, I'm going to have an event, and everybody's going to come to this one event and kind of take, you know what I mean, kind of take care of everything at one time.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, if I'm able to be out there as Alyssa Onyx, Dark Doll, and come investigate with Dark Doll, come see me in action, come experience it, who am I to turn down that opportunity? You know, I would never turn down an opportunity to be seen or heard with the platform that I'm choosing to speak on, no matter how I dress or what I say, because I am crude, I am blunt. I am a gay queen in a woman's body. That's just who I am. So if people accept that and say, hey, I would, and I who am I to turn that down? So I should backtrack the original question. If that was an opportunity that came about, absolutely. I would love to experience it. I don't know if I'd get a lot out of it personally, but if I was able to help somebody or intrigue somebody or excite somebody, cool, absolutely. But yeah, within the last few years, it's just been a big crash and burn situation, so I've stayed away. No more.
We're already almost out of time. We just have a few minutes left, but I want people to know where they can find you and stuff. So can you, any websites or anywhere you want them to, you know, have an eye out for you, why don't you go ahead and give them that information right now? And
yeah, great. Thank you for letting me do that. I'm actually pretty much on every social media platform you can think of under Alyssa Onyx, ALYSSAONYX. That's the name that I have chosen. It's the name that will stick with me, so that's the name that's going to be wherever. But my personal website is darkdollparanormal.com. Again, I'm challenged in all that. I am getting help with it. A lot of revamping is to come. I've also locked down alyssaonyx.com. That's under construction. My YouTube page, like I said, I'm fixing to get on the ball with that and really hit it hard. But Alyssa Onyx is the name I'm under, and that's where anybody can find me, wherever they choose.
Well, awesome. And I'm going to get in touch with you for this show because I have some things I want to talk to you about, so you might be interested in. I just thank you for being on the show. I wish we had more time, and I would like to have you on again so we could maybe discuss some other things further and maybe go in depth with some of the some things that you have ran into on investigations and things like that. I think that might be neat to have maybe a second. Maybe this can be our first part of the show, and we could have another show that would be our part two. And
you give me the date and the time, and I am there, girl. I will do it in a heartbeat.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being on. And I will get with you after the show.
Great, Regina.
All righty. Well, thank you. You have a good day, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, Teresa, I think we're going to wrap up our show. I'm so excited that this is kind of our first announced show that's going to be on YouTube. I think it's going to be a neat venue for us. And I just wanted to say again, I just wanted to remind people about the Paranormal Depot, because I think that's going to be another really awesome thing. But for today, I think we'll wrap things up. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And until next time.
Into the Shadows with Regina and Teresa. Join them as they unravel the mysteries of the paranormal and discover who or what is lurking in the darkness.